Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Robin with Create It with Robin, and today we're going to be making a cute little gingerbread shelf sitter. I wanted to show you what your options are. So you have two options when it comes to this shelf sitter. You have the little Pocket Pal, which is another little gingy. So we have a gingerbread shelf sitter with a little gingy Pocket Pal. And then you have your choice of tags. The tags say cheer and the other one says merry. So you have options with those. Or you can change out your little Pocket Pal for a little snowman. And do it that way. So you're gonna have that with the option of merry or cheer. So those are your options when it comes to what's available. I'm going to be doing this one with the little snowman and the cheer tag. And these two pieces are what's going to hold it up. So this is going to go on the back side, and I'll show you how that gets attached. But let's get started. With this, you will also get all of these little goodies. So we are going to be putting on a bow, tie a bow around his neck, and so all these fun goodies you'll see at the very end of the video, but this will all be in the kit as well. And I'll show you how to put it all together. Okay, first things first. I like to clean all the pieces that need to be cleaned, which are any light colors. Now the gingerbread is going to be brown. I don't need to clean anything on him. There's really only his eyes. Everything else is going to get covered in brown, so I do not worry about these score marks where it has the char. Brown on brown, it's not going to matter, but some of these lighter pieces do need to be cleaned. Like the snowman is going to be white. This piece is going to be a light color, and these pieces are going to be a light color, and this one. So let's clean these, and I'm just going to go ahead and clean them while they're sitting on this little wood piece. Now when I clean them, I do like to use a finger protector on my finger, and I will either use a baby wipe or a little chunk of a magic eraser. And I get my magic erasers from Dollar General. That's where I find that they are the cheapest. And they just help get the char off of the pieces. If you don't remove the char, any of your light pieces will never be the right color. That char will come right through that light color. So that took that char right off of there. I'll show you again. You can also use a baby wipe to do the same thing. So I'll show you right here on this little carrot nose. You can see that char on there. And I always wipe them off on a paper towel. You want to get the water residue off as soon as you can on your pieces. Because this is MDF, and MDF swells when left with water on it, and we don't want that. And yes, my squares get nasty because of all the char. But that's all right because it does the job pretty nicely. just very sparingly with the water. You want it damp but not soaking wet, that it's going to leave a ton of water on your pieces. And then wipe it off and it's clear. Now if you have some here, I'm not going to worry about that because it's going to be covered up. But if the magic eraser doesn't get it off and the baby wipe doesn't get it off, a light sanding will get it off. But that's on there. It's obviously not coming off with either one of those. I've tried both. So you can sand it very lightly, but that's where we're putting our bow and the bell, the little rusty bell and things like that. So it's going to get covered up. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Let me do these pieces here. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will see that you made a comment and I will respond back. It's tearing up my magic eraser pretty good. Okay, got one more. This one's so skinny, it's a little tricky to get dried off. Okay, there we go. Next, what I want to do is use a gel stain, and I'm going to use the color Oak, and I'm going to stain the back of my piece, and I'm going to stain the back of the tag because you will be able to see it. And to me, finishing the backs of pieces just finishes the project. And because of all the stuff going on the front of your project, it's a little hard to stain it evenly with things that you have. It rocks. So I like doing the backs of them first. It'll be done and we never have to think about it again. I used to, in the beginning, not finish the backs, or I would forget to do the backs first, and then I'd get done and go, oh no, I forgot to do the back. And then it's a pain in the booty to get it stained. So I just take part of that baby wipe, that's the same baby wipe I used to wipe off the char. Now, another thing you can do to help spread this, because when you feel that the paint is dragging on the wood, you can, let me find my spritzer bottle. I just take a little spray bottle and I will get some on my spritz that on there, and it just helps it to get on there a little more smoothly. It does kind of help it spread out, and you almost don't use as much of the stain. I can't obviously talk and do this at the same time. It spreads out the stain and it just makes it go a little further. So there we go. We have the back of our little gingerbread done. So I'm going to set that aside and do these other pieces. On this piece, we only need to do one side. And that's done. On this piece, we need to do both sides. And then our little tag. Okay, so those need to sit and dry. Next thing we need to do is put our pieces into color. I like to put them in color stacks so that I know what's going to be what color. Now we are working with a gingerbread, so the icing pieces are going to be a little different. Normally I would do like a white. This time I kind of want it a little bit different. I know my snowman is going to be white, so I want my icing pieces to be off-white. So I'm going to do my icing pieces in a little bit of an off-white. So we're going to do white and off-white like that. Now all of the colors I'm using will be in the description of the video, so you don't have to worry about grabbing different things that kind of similar look like them unless you don't have a color that I'm going to be using. Then get something that's going to be similar. Okay, so my snowman's going to be white. His nose is going to be orange. This is going to be a maroon red. This is going to be a green. And then our peppermint is going to, it's going to start out white, and then we're going to have to hand paint the red stripes in. So we will do that. Let's see, and then this piece is also going to be a light green with the lettering white. Now I use like the flaps of an Amazon box or something like that, and I put painter's tape on it with the sticky side up. This keeps all of my pieces from sliding around when I'm painting them, and these little tiny pieces I don't have to try and handle and do that at the same time, or handle and try to paint them at the same time. So let's get these put on the board. I'm going to start with these pieces, and I'm going to put them right on here. Let's see. Right like that and like that. So those are our off-white pieces. And then our little snowman is going to be white. So I'm going to put him on there. We don't have to paint the bottom here because it's going to get covered. And then I do need to start off with this piece being totally white. And then we have our orange nose, our burgundy heart, and then our green pieces. So I'm going to do that one and this one here. They're going to be two, a little bit two different colors of green. I don't want them to be the same colors. If you have a white paint pen and you're comfortable using that, you might want to use that on the lettering here on the tag. I like to start with the lighter pieces, the light colored pieces, and work my way to the dark because they usually take the longest to dry because they need several coats. So let's start with the white, and I just use a silicone mat. You can use a piece of aluminum foil or a waxy plate, anything like that that's not going to soak up the paint and let it dry quickly. So I just use a silicone mat. It cleans up very easily. So I'll show you right here how I do it. And then I use sponges. So I'm going to use a little makeup sponge here. I get them on Amazon in bulk. So I'm going to dip in, and that has a lot of paint on it. I do not want a glob of paint on there like that. So I tap off and make sure I get all the paint on the bottom of that sponge. And then I come over here. This piece has no scoring on it, so I can just tap and drag and get that first layer on there pretty quickly. Now when it gets up here to the score lines, I don't have a whole lot of paint left in here, so I can drag right over it and nothing's going to get into those score lines. You can still see two round circles right on there. And so that is good. I'm going to also take what's left on here and come over to this peppermint and get a layer of white on there. All right, so that's the first layer there. I'm trying to see if I need another layer of white on anything. I think I'm good. So I'm going to come to my off-white colors. Not a whole lot of difference in the color. Take another sponge. I use my sponges until there's like almost nothing left of them. I'm going to tap off and then come on over. And we've got our first coat on those. Now I'm going to do these other two pieces. There's no score marks, so I can just tap and drag. All right, I'm going to come back to the white and do another layer. This time I'm going to tap the whole thing. I'm not going to tap and drag. I really like the texture that you get when you tap, and so I only tap and drag on that first layer. Okay, so I'm going to tap a lot of that paint out. I don't want to fill any of those lines, and again, I'm tapping. If you do happen to get paint in those lines before it dries, you need to grab something, a pin, a stick pin, something. This is a little scribe tool, like a cookie tool, and get in those lines and dig it out before it dries. I'm going to come down here and do a second layer of the off-white. Okay, we'll see how that dries. I'm coming back to the white, and we're going to do our third and final coat of white. And now the off-white one more time. It may not need it. I'm just gonna do right here where I can see I missed a spot. I'm just gonna do the whole thing again. All right, and that's gonna be that. Now let's go and do the orange on the nose. It does not take a whole lot. Now the heart. And now for the greens. So I'm going to start with this green. want to do the little pocket in this green. And it's going to dry a little darker than it's going on. Okay, I'm going to do another coat of the orange on the carrot, and then that should be done. Another coat of the red. And this time tapping. And that should be done. And one more coat of this green. This time tapping. Okay, now to change up the colors, because I want this to be a little bit lighter than that green. I don't really want it to be the same color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green and a little bit of white. See if that's enough to turn it a little lighter. And I might have done it a little too light, but let's just see. I can always add more to it on the next. That might be good. Okay, so it has the scored lines in it, so I'm going to tap some of this off. Actually, this is good. See, it's a little bit lighter than what we had, so that might be just fine. I might even want it a little bit lighter. Maybe we'll just sand some of that off, but let's get it. Yeah, I might want it a little lighter. So while that's drying, let's add a little bit more white to this. Because now that it's drying, it's looking way too close to what that other one is, and I really want it to be a totally different color. All right, let's see what that looks like after it dries. This is looking good. Okay, I can start removing some things from the board. I like to remove items from the board once they are done drying and all of the coats are on, because now the rest of it is done as a, okay, when you're doing delicate pieces like this, I like to go underneath the tape with my hands, or fingers and push up from the bottom so that you don't snap your pieces. Right like that, it just pops right off the tape. I think that will work. I'm going to go ahead and pop that off. Okay, I'm just moving these pieces aside. That's still drying. We do need to paint that. And we've got some shading to do on some of those. But right now we're going to do our gingy. I have a light brown and a dark brown. So I'm going to use the lighter brown for on the gingy. And another sponge. This time I'm leaving it goopy because I do want to get it on there. It's like tap and drag. I'm going to go very lightly over the eyes. These score marks, it doesn't matter if you get the paint down in the lines because that's being covered with the icing pieces. You don't need to paint where the pocket is. Don't waste your paint, just go right around it. Okay, quick and easy. That's done. We're gonna do a second coat of that on here, so I'm gonna use my dryer and get it dry for us. So this does need a second coat. Looks all splotchy. So now I'm going to dip into the paint and tap off, and we are going to tap. Okay, I'm going to set this aside to dry and go work on some of the other items. So on here, I do want to add a little bit of shading and highlighting. So on the bottom of the nose, where you would see the shade or the shadow, I'm going to take that brown and I'm very lightly going to tap it across the bottom. I don't know if that shows up, but it's there. And then on the very top, I'm going to take the white. I'm going to tap a lot of that color paint out because there's a lot of white in there. And then I'm just lightly going to tap the top. Like that. So there's actually 3 colors on that nose. On the heart, I'm gonna take the white or the off-white, whichever one you want to do. I think I'm gonna do the off-white. And I'm gonna, ooh, still a lot of paint in there. I'm just lightly hitting those edges. Like that. And I think I'm also going to do a little dot on the heart. I'm going to find my dotting tool. I'm going to use the larger end. I have these dotting tools. You can get them on Amazon. I'll link those in the description. I'm also going to go into that off-white paint and just put a dot on one side of that heart. With the, let's work on this piece. So with this one, I'm going to take the stain that we used to stain the back, and I just barely want to get some of that color across the top of that pocket. Okay, now I'm going to take a black marker. This is a Mr. Pen permanent marker. It's a thick chisel point marker like this. And this is what we're going to use to clean up our edges. So I'm heavy-handed. I like to get it done quickly, and you can see how that cleans up that edge. You want the toe, which is this part here, the toe of the chisel point towards the painted side of the wood, and just glide it across. If you do get the marker on the paint side of the wood, you'll have to sand it off and start over, but it's not destroyed. I've done it plenty times. But that really cleans up those edges. This being green, not really going to see a whole lot of it, but I'm just going to clean it anyway. I don't need to do the edges of the heart because that's going to be covered inside of our pocket, but I do want to clean the edges of our little nose. And we can do these pieces while we're at it. I'm not going to bother getting in there. And then our little stripes, these don't look too bad. I think I'll just leave them. The candy cane. I knew there was something I was missing. That's not going to be seen. All right, next we need to paint the red stripes on the candy cane. I'm going to go ahead and glue this part on here and just get that part done. Now in my bottle I have Tight Bond Quick and Thick glue, and I just put it into a precision tip bottle, which I get off of Amazon. Here's the glue, Tight Bond Quick and Thick, and this is what is inside of my little bottle. Okay, with that we are going to use the red that we used on the heart. So I need a little bit more of it because what I have on the table has already dried up. And I am going to use a tiny little angle brush. So I have this tiny little angle brush. These are actually Royal and Langnickel. They call these like, these are kid brushes. They're like a 1/8 inch. They are tiny, and they call them kid brushes because they have shorter handles. All right, so I'm going to start. I'm going to get my bristles wet, wipe them off, and then I'm going to dip into the red, and I'm going to start with the end of the peppermint or the candy cane and work my way around every other one. Okay. Now let's work on our little snowman. We want to put his cheeks on before we do his eyes. So you could take the sponge with the red paint on it and do this part, or you could use a distressing crayon. This is called Fired Brick. So I have stencil brushes that I use for this part. and I will just rub my stencil brush on the crayon, and then I'll put it over here and see. Actually, that's not a bad color, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Right, like that. I can find the camera. There we go. And I like big cheeks. All right, so that don't look too bad. And I got to remember our nose is going to go through part of that one. So I'm going to make it a little higher on this side. Like that. Okay. Now let's see, this is almost dry, so we can finish that one. Let's do some dots on this. I want to do, or we need to use the dark green on this. So I'm going to take this sponge that we had the green on, and I'm going to cut that end off so that I have a fresh sponge to work with. I'm going to dip just that little corner, tap that in, blend it in, and now I'm going to come here to the edge of this piece here and just do a little distressing on the edge. I can also come in with a brush kind of blend that in a little better. I like using a brush. I just tap into the corner, blend it. And I just love the look. Okay, so that's what we have for that. And we're going to put dots on this piece. So I'm going to take that darker green that I used. We're going to start doing some dots. And each dot I'm going to either do like 1, 2, back into the paint, 1, 2, back into paint, 1, 2. And that's all I'm going to do. Okay, let's get his eyes on there. So So I'm gonna go into this is where we need black right out of the lid because I don't need much. And I'm gonna use the larger ball on my ball tool. And there's his eyes. Let's dirty him up a little bit. If there's still stain in here, yep, a little bit, I'm just gonna go around his body a little bit and give him a little bit of a dirty, distressed look on our little snowman. That looks good. I need the glue. I'm like, what am I looking for? Okay. So now I want to put white dots on his cheeks. So I'm going to use the white that's on the table, and I'm going to do a white dot there and one right there. I'm going to put this on. Get the little pocket glued on. That looks good. I did not clean my edges over here, so I do need to clean that up as soon as this is dry enough to handle it a little more. All right. I need glue right on the tip, and about like that. Okay. Now I can do the black dots on the snowman. So I'm going to do right like that. And this part is done, except for us splattering later. So I'm going to set that aside. On this part, I need to do the letters on the inside. I do want to clean that. All right, on here, let me see what this is going to look like if I do this. Oh, that's not bad. Okay. Let's bring our Gingy back and let's do some work on him. We do need to give some cheeks, but let's do the distressing around the edge first. So I want to use the darker brown for this part. And I'm going to use that sponge, and let's see, I'm going to tap a bunch of this out. And I'm going to go into that darker brown, tap that out, because I do not want a ton on there. Okay, now I'm going to start on the bottom in case I don't like it. We'll see how it works. I'm just going to go along this edge. I normally do this part with a brush, but I wanted to show you guys that it can be done with a sponge also. Get it out from under the light so I could see it, and I can't really see. I was running out of paint around his head. All right, so there we go. Now we can give our little gingerbread some cheeks, and then we can do his eyes. So I'm going to come back in with that same red distressing crayon. Okay, when I do this, I want to start in the middle and work my way out. And again, I like big cheeks. side. I have to lift it up because with the lights I have on, I can't see. There's a glare. Okay, I think that's about. All right, that's good. And with this one, I'm gonna try doing it with the dotting tool. And I'm literally just dotting it on and moving it towards the lines of his eyes. I'm going to also use straight from the bottle that creamy white color. Trying to get them even. Now we can glue our stripes on, but yeah, let's go ahead and do those. This glue also dries clear, so if any of it comes underneath and you can see it, you won't see it in a little bit. It will dry clear. I just want to make sure it's even down here on the bottom. Okay. I think that looks good. Now I can get our little pocket guy on, but I do want to clean that up. Okay, now I'm going to lift it up and see if I made it into the right spot. And then I'm going to press down and get it on there. That looks good. Now let's get the icing part on the top. All right, there we go. So on the back, we need to add this piece. So we stained one side but left the other side unstained because this is what's going to be glued to the back here. And so when it goes on, this piece has those bump outs on it. Those are going to go inside this piece, and then it will lean back right like that. And then, oops, it's not glued on, so it's not going to stick. But that's how it will work. So I'm gonna get it into position. Okay, so I'm gonna lay this down. I'm gonna leave this piece in there while I glue it so that I get it on there in the right position. I'm not putting glue where those pieces are because I don't want to glue it in. I do not want to glue these pieces in. I want it to be removable. All right, so I'm going to stand this back up. I'm going to put this as center as I can possibly get it. Okay, I'm going to set this down and then move it towards my gingerbread, and then I'm going to lean my gingerbread back, and then I'm going to come to the front and push it in. And there we go. Give that just a minute to grab a hold. Now I'm going to hold it and remove this piece. And there we have it. Posca pen, and this is a fine tip or a pen type pen. And I'm just going to use this to fill in these letters. To splatter our piece before we add the bow. So we're going to take a stencil brush. This is what I use, and this is what I do. I'm going to stick it in water, get my bristles really wet, squeegee it out so I can't squeeze any more water out of those bristles. And then I'm going to come over to the white paint that's on my mat here, and I'm going to swirl around, getting that paint up into the bristles. Now this paint's been sitting here for a while since we painted, and so now I'm just going to take Move him out of the way. I'm going to take this spot right here and just do a little test to see if I like the spots. I like them. So I'm going to put this back. Put this there so I don't get white paint on the back side of my piece. And now I'm just going to go very lightly around my gingy, giving it a little light smattering of white spots. Okay, I'm going to do this piece here. Although I don't think much is going to show up on it, I'm just going to do it anyway. Do the little top. Remove the little bristle. And that spot there, I'm going to leave it. Okay. Now let's clean up and do the bow. If you guys want to purchase this kit, it also comes with all of the fabrics and everything you need to finish it up. So I'm gonna put this here and show you what fabrics come with it. So this is a rusty bell we're gonna be using. I did rust this up myself with cinnamon, and it does still jingle. So you get the little bell. This is the stand for the back of it. You get a strip of homespun fabric plus more homespun fabric for a bow. You're going to get this strip of fabric to add to the bow. You're going to get greenery. You're going to need part of a pipe cleaner to hold your bow together. Some paper wrapped wire, and you'll get 3 of those. And this is what we're going to do to it, is curl it up. And a piece of jute string. And all of that is going to come with your kit. Like I said, you'll have a choice of the Pocket Pal and the tag that you want to use. All right, let's get this finished. I've got my scissors. You'll also need hot glue and your little bag with all your pieces in it. I'm going to start out wrapping the shorter piece of ribbon around my gingerbread's neck. And I want it to stop and start at the same place here in the front. And I like to make sure on the back side it's nice and not twisted. And you will have extra fabric. I made sure to give you extra. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna cut this off so as long as it overlaps what's on the bottom, and that's what I've got left. And I'm gonna hot glue that down. All right. He's got part of his little scarfy bow on there. Now we're going to take the rest of this and make a bow, like a shoelace bow. So you can do it a couple of ways. Take it in your fingers like this, pull it down, and wrap it through the hole and pull. Good thing about homespun fabric is it's the same print on both sides, so you don't have to do any type of twisting or mangling your bow to try and get it on the right side so the right side is up and showing. Now I'm just moving my loops to get them the right size. I think I want smaller on this side. Get them even. About like that. I think that's good. So I'm going to pull it a little tighter because as you pull it and get your loops the right way, it loosens up in the middle. So you got it tight. I like them fluffy. All right, so I like that right there. And what I'm doing is these pieces right here are underneath the scarf. So it gives me a good spot right here on this one to glue this down. It gives me a little dip in the ribbon. So I'm going to use my hot glue. I'm also going to be selling this finished one when we are done here, if anybody is interested. But the kit is also available, and you will have full access to the tutorial and everything. I will take this video and splice it with the other one that I have to make one video for you. All right, I'm not sure how long I want the tails yet, so we're going to leave those and cut them down at the end. I'd rather cut them later than cut them now and know figure out I needed longer ones. All right, so with this ribbon, we're going to also tie a shoelace bow, and it's the same print on both sides. So you can do that same bow technique again. Put them in both fingers, give yourself a good loop, crisscross them, flip this one under, and that one flips over, which is normal. And then I'm just going to adjust my loops. I do want it slightly smaller, but not this small. So I am going to back my loops out a bit. Okay. That's looking good. And I'm liking that the more I mess with it, the more ragged it looks. I like that. So So it was nice and straight like this when we started, and now it's starting to get a little ratty. I like it. Oh, can I see you do that once more, please? I am getting my ribbon now to try to do it while you're doing your bow. Oh, yeah. Let me know when you're ready. Or you could just tie it like a shoelace bow. Hi, Sharamay and Carol and Suzerain Bubbles. You're ready. Okay. So you're going to take them, just put your finger and thumb like this, pull it out, bring these fingers, pull this down so you have your loops right here. Yes, you can tie like a shoelace. It almost looks the same. So I'll do this one, crisscross them, put this one into the hole, pull. This is very thick fabric. It's not like fabric. It's more like ribbon fabric. So it's a little stiffer than the fabric that I use here. So it's going to hold its shape a little bit better. All right, so there's that bow. And then for the other one, just a shoelace bow. Wrap it around, put it through, and there you go. I find doing it this way, you're not in the middle is thicker, if that makes any sense. So if you're going to put it on something, it's going to make your bow pop out a little bit more, where there is a lot going on this bow because I still have to add greenery. I still have to add the tag. I still have to add the bell. There's a lot going on in it that makes it thick already. So you kind of have to pick and choose which bow you want to do on what project, if that makes any sense at all. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm just going to retie this one and get it secured on there. Awesome. I'm glad that makes sense. I'm like, if I do shoelace bows on both of these, they're going to stand out here like an inch. My gingy will look jacked up. I don't want that. All right, so I've got that. Let me redo this here. I want this one a little longer. And this one a little longer. And then once I get the size that I want, I'm going to pull it tight. Again. And I usually hold all 4 pieces when I do this. All right. That is a lot tighter, and I fluff out my bows. I want it floofy. All right. Now let me get some hot glue. Stuck my finger in the hot glue again, twice. I'm no genius. It's just how it is. I have tied and retied bows. I'm like, why is it so huge? Well, because I did the wrong dang bow. Okay, Oh, thank you so much. What is your fave merch plug? Okay, we're gonna keep going. So we've got that. Now I'm going to, so this is gonna look like, and we're gonna pretend like I tied it around the bow and it's just hanging off like this. It's just going to be glued on. Let me get these little pieces off. As long as they stay attached, I'm good. But when they start falling off, favorite merch plug. I'm so sorry. I try not to butcher everybody's name, but good Lord, some are hard. Okay. For this, I want it to sit like it's hanging, but not quite off. I think I want to do the greenery first before I stick this on. So this and this little skinny piece of jute and my bell are going to be the last things I do. Let me work on the greenery. So you've got one little thing of greenery here, and we don't need all of this, but I do want these fanned out pieces. And I like threes. And even though yours is going to come with four, I'm only going to use three. I like threes. Threes work for me. If I see a place where a fourth one might go, I'll add it, but it would mess with my brain to put a fourth one on there. So we'll just see how it goes. And this greenery, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it is glittery. So it's the only thing on this whole piece that has glitter to it. So it's going to add an eye-catching interest because it's going to have glitter. And I like it because it's flat on the back. So it's going to sit flat on the little gingy wherever we put it and not stick out also. Do you put clear sealant on the greenery? No, I don't. I do not. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so on here, I'm also going to put them in different angles. I don't want anything coming out here on his face. So I'm going to do side to side and down below. And because these are shorter pieces, I'm going to tuck them in under the bow, but not all the way up to the middle. So like right here, I got to get these out of the way. These I want to come down this way. If your ribbon pieces, which is a fabric and a ribbon, don't stay put, you can always add a tiny touch of glue to make them stay where you want them to stay. You just don't need a complete dab full. All right, so that's about good right there. You just have to mess with it and put it where you want it to go. So if I tuck it in right there, it's not going to get in the snowman's face. And if I put it down here, it might keep my ribbon where I want it to stay. Right there. I like that. And it's keeping my ribbon where I want it. So that's where I'm going to glue it. You always place it and position it before you glue it. Okay. Now this one is going to go on the opposite side. And I think I want to tuck this one kind of right into here, side to side, and then down below, kind of like that. I like that. All right, I like that. You can see it pretty good. The hot glue is pretty stringy. All right, and then this last one, I want it to come like out under the tag. I'll be right back. So I think if I used this one, let me try it, see what it looks like. Good thing I have an extra. I could stick it all the way up to the bow. Oh, I think that's the one. Cut those pieces off to make it lay right. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna stick that right there. My glue is so stringy. Actually, I'm going to take and cut some of these off. That's making it pop up, and that's probably why it's not laying right. I'm going to make it flat on the back. All right, so we got that on. Let me give it a few more than 2 seconds. Let it grab. All right, and then you have an extra one if you find someplace you want to add. After I get my tag and the bell and everything on, I could come back over this one and add some dimension just by adding this piece in there, which I just might do. But I'm going to wait and see if I even want it, because I did tuck that one up in there too. For me, I think it might maybe a little too far, but we'll see what it looks like. Okay, with this, Trying to see what all it's going to touch. I think I'm going to just hot glue it at the top and the bottom because I don't think anything is touching it right in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and add my tag. I'm going to go across the top and a little bit at the bottom. Not really sure what it's going to touch in the bottom, but we'll see. Okay, so we got that on there so far. Now we're going to use this and our bill. I'm going to stick this through my bill in the back. Make sure it's even. And I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in it so it stays in place. Now we're going to tie a shoelace bow again. This time a true shoelace bow, not the thicker, thinner. I want my loops a little bigger because I want them to poke out behind the bell. So that's about a good size, so make it tight. So where that hole is on the tag is where I'm going to put hot glue and lay my bell down. And I'm going to see what else is touching. Like right on the very tip of that bell. Look how stinking cute. And we've still got one more item to go. You don't even need this. So free gift. You guys can do whatever you want with it. We didn't even use it. I put it in thinking we'd do a different kind of bow, but we didn't. I do like this, and I kind of want to stick it right in here because I'm not seeing this greenery much. So I'm going to add it right there. I think it needs it. All right, now we're going to do these pieces. You're going to get 3 strips of the paper wrapped wire, and we're going to make them look like this. So cute. You need one? All right, I will run it. We are almost done. So let me get these on and we will be finished, and I will run it for you. I'm glad you like it. So I just took a pencil, or you can use a pen. I think on this one, what did I use? I think I used the end of a paintbrush. So let me grab one of those. So just the end of a paintbrush. I take the wire, I pull it over, and I hold it with my thumb and I just start wrapping the wire. Don't wrap it where it's overlapping itself. Wrap it like this, and every now and then push it down, and then just keep wrapping. Push it down. Keep wrapping. You want to go until you have like maybe 3/4 of an inch hanging off the end. And then you have your little curly Q with a hanger on the end. So I'm going to do that again. Hold it with my thumb. See, I overlapped it, so I'm going to back it off. Push it down. And there's my little hanger. Okay, I'm going to extend it a little bit and probably make this more like that. Give it an end here where this one is bent. I'm going to turn it so it goes outwards and pull to extend the little curls. And we may not need them this long, but let's see. If I stick that up in there, it's too long. So let me put this back on the brush and wrap it around a little longer. So I think this is too long for me, and I might want a bigger. I like these curls. I gotta find out what I must have used. I must have used either a bigger paintbrush than this one. Obviously I did, because that's okay. Let me find what I used. Did I use a pen? Did I use a pen? Nope, that's too big. Maybe this. Oh, I bet you I use this. All right, you can always unwrap your wire and rewrap it. So that's what I'm going to do here, because I want my loops to be bigger. So I'm just going to gently by hand make these loops bigger. There we go. Okay. So these are obviously, I gave you enough wire. You could probably use 2 of these instead of all 3 of them to get enough of the wire. So again, I like doing these in 3s, and I'm going to try and put them close to, but not right on top of the greenery. So this one's going to go up underneath and come out on one side of the greenery, but that is too long. I'm not liking that. So I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. This part that's going to be hidden, it's going to give me enough space to get it right up next to that bow underneath and hold it in place. Look at that. That's just cute. I like that. Okay, so right here is where I'm going to add the glue. Hi, Linda. All right, so there's that one. This one, I think I kind of want to stick it between the two ribbons, the ribbon and fabric. So I'm going to shorten this, shrink it up a bit. Give me something to glue. And stick that up in there. Yep, I like it. So I put my hand where I know I want to glue. Now for the last one. It's going to go over here somewhere. I think I like that right there. So I'm going to shrink this up, squish it down. I'm putting it between the ribbons. Right like that. Okay. Now all we got to do is cut our ribbons and we are done. I'm just going to cut them the same length. And there he is. How stinking cute. Now see, this, I want it to stay like that. So I'm going to take my ribbon and just put a tiny dab of glue right there and make it lay where I want it to lay. And there we go. Now I can add the back. And there it is. How cute. So this part down here on the bottom, you have an open space here. So if you have a Cricut or maybe a family photo or any favorite sayings, or you want to add something down here, you know, you've got options. You have a lot of leeway when it comes to adding something down here. But I also like having the open space in case I want to put one of my fake bakes in front of it. I brought 3 of them over so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this could sit right here in front of him. I know you guys are at a really, let's see if I can lay it down and you guys can see it better. Hey, Barb. All right, so say this is standing up, but you could put this right here on the side of it and dress it up that way. I also have, something like this that just smaller pieces that could sit right here in this open space. I've also got a little coffee. This is going to be adorable. I can't wait to use it.